Welcome back, viewers, to this very special set of videos today here at Buckmore Park Kart Circuit, where you join us for our inaugural event. In this video, we're going to be taking you through race number 3, where the grid is based on the fastest lap time set in the previous race 2. So without further ado, let's hand over to our commentator, Tom Dillon.
Welcome back to Buckmore Park then, which has changed a lot since it was built in 1963, extended in 1994 and 1999. 13 turns now make up this 1 kilometre circuit, where the longest straight is 75 metres. Rory O'Regan is on pole position. Luke Battersby only 0.05 of a second slower than him in that previous race. Luca Palumbo and Alex Brazier make up the rest of row 2, with Luke Ide starting in 5th position, his sights firmly set on a potential race win at the end of this one. Matthew Bolton is in 6th, with Ollie Smith and Callum Bengelo on row 4, both of those drivers hoping that they can also get their way up the order throughout this race. Blaze Turnstill is on row 5 alongside Louis Draper, with Chrissy Harding down in 11th. Alex Jones and Mark Puxty are on row 1, with Mike Smith and Ryan Sandel making up row 2. The heavyweights all remarkably close, 0.3 of a second separating the entirety of the top 4. Chris Bowers is on row 3 alongside Michael Whitaker. Again, only 0.4 of a second in it at this stage. Jack Cameron Drayton in 7th, with Ross Sandwell in 8th. Miles Harding starts in 9th and makes up the rest of the grid. Here we are then, ready to get underway for the 3rd and penultimate race of the day. It is last of our 10-minute sprint races here at Buckmore Park. Rory O'Regan is on pole position. It's lights out and away we go, and it's a good start for Luke Battersby on the outside line. Rory O'Regan very calm and collected as we go down into turn 1, gets ahead ever so slightly through that part of the track. Conways, then we go down into Henry's Bend, and Rory O'Regan has the lead of the race. Luke has a little bit of a look to the outside line. Alex Brazier in the background, he's trying to make up a couple of positions. He's battling with Matthew Bolton as well, as Luke Ide looks to get himself up into 3rd position. Luke Battersby gets the cut back as we go through the double apex hairpin 2 and is able to get himself briefly into the lead of the race, and it might become a little bit more than a brief stint in the lead of the race here as he goes back around the outside of Rory O'Regan, race leader, and gets himself sliding up the inside into the lead of the race proper this time. But Rory's back at him as we go down into the final real corner. Garner hit, right-hander, Luke on the outside line, Rory O'Regan on that inside line to complete the first lap. And much like the drag race to the line in the previous race, this time Luke Battersby is going to get the exit and get himself into the lead of the race. It was 1 second at the timing line. I don't think that's quite correct now. 0.09 of a second. Luke Ide all over the back of Rory O'Regan as well. He's trying to get himself into 2nd position and then start to chase after the lead of the race. You can see at the top of your picture, Luca Palumbo, Matthew Bolton and Alex Brazier all having a battle. As here goes Alex Brazier to the outside line of Matthew Bolton. Knows he's got Luca Palumbo on that inside line, and Luca just getting his way through but not quite able to find that position, and Alex Brazier will hold on to 6th position for the time being. But we've got yellow flags, and that is going to neutralise the race very briefly as we see a driver off on driver's right. The green flag flying very quickly at the next marshal post. Now we see Luke Ide getting himself in to 2nd position. That's a proper spot now for the number 11 karts, and he's going to start to chase after Luke Battersby as well, but not before he finds himself under increasing pressure from Rory O'Regan, I'm sure. We'll wait to see how that works as they go down into turn 1. Also wondering if those yellow flags are going to get cleared when the field gets themselves back around to that part of the circuit, as you see Luke Battersby keeping one eye on Luke Ide, as Luke is catching him ever so slightly here with 7.5 minutes or so to go in the race. And Luke Ide really trying to experiment with the lines a little bit here to just see where he can gain that time on Luke Battersby. That's the most important thing really about trying to catch someone up at the lead of the race, and I think Luke Ide's done it very quickly. You can see across the line 0.3 of a second. Meanwhile, Mark Puxty has the lead in the heavyweight races. There goes Luke Ide down the inside line as we go down into Garda, and he's going to get himself into that position as they go up through the final few corners, through Cedar Chicane, then the Cafe Corner after Herbert's Rise, and looks like Luke Ide has the lead of the race, but for how long? Because down into Conways, Luke Battersby looks to the inside line. It's covered off quite well, quite deftly by Luke Ide, and now Luke will experiment with those lines down into hairpin 1. Can't quite get his way up into the position. Rory O'Regan starting to put pressure on him around the outside as we go into hairpin 2, double apex corner, and Luke Battersby has it covered fairly easily. So Rory O'Regan not quite able to get himself back up into those top 2 spots as Luke points forward, trying to make sure that Luke Hyde doesn't get away here from these 2 that are chasing away. And I think if they can do that, that's going to be the optimal way to go about things right here, as Battersby keeping Luke Hyde on, is showing a little bit how important the slipstream can actually be, even though we're only driving the 390s here at Buckmore Park. It shows how powerful the slipstream can actually be, as here goes Luke looking to the outside line, a bit of a dummy move down into turn 1, but Conway's looks like it's held off by Luke Hyde, who doesn't give him the space to go down the inside and make that move, as following him as well into hairpin 2. That should give Rory O'Regan the racing line actually and a chance to catch up as we go into hairpin 2. But it looks like Luke Battersby for the time being has got both Rory O'Regan covered, however not quite able to look forward in a positive direction as we start to approach half distance here at Buckmore Park in the penultimate race of the day. They also know that they've got a very long race coming up next time, so this all setting up how that is going to play out, and of course the victory in this inaugural event, as through goes Rory O'Regan down the inside line as we go down into Garda. Luke Battersby has it covered on the outside line and just about able to get the run on that outside line, proving that the momentum is very, very important through that sequence of corners. It is allowing Luke Hyde to pull away a little bit. He's got about 6 tenths of a second at the line, 2 tenths further back from Luke Battersby to Rory O'Regan. So at the moment, Luke Hyde sitting pretty at the top of the order. 5.5 minutes to go by my reckoning. That should be, as we're lapping well around the minute. Well, it should potentially be just about 3-4 laps until the end of the race. We'll wait and see how these guys get their pace going. As in the background, Rory O'Regan and Matthew Boulton starting to have a little bit of a battle. Matthew Boulton only 4 tenths of a second behind. Alex Brazier having fallen back a little bit. If you look at the top right hand corner of your picture, you see Luke Battersby behind. You can barely make out Matthew Boulton all over the back of Rory O'Regan, trying to get himself up into the top 3. It'll be exciting to see how Matthew Boulton can get on as we go into the EKS main season for 2023, especially with how well he's been driving today, as Luke Battersby starting now to catch up to Luke Hyde down into hairpin 2. Luke Hyde maybe a little bit poorer on the exit, giving Luke Battersby the run on the outside line, now trying to get in the slipstream and trying to mount an opportunity with 4 minutes to go in the race. Luke Hyde needs to look over his shoulder because he needs to know that Luke Battersby is coming and has a fantastic chance of trying to get himself into the lead of this race to make it 2 race wins in a row here in the inaugural event. Out of Garda they go, down into the centre chicane, and then the Herberts rise, and then through Cafe Corner. Luke Battersby getting that run on Luke Hyde. These two both 3-time Buckmore Park champions in an owner driving. Luke Hyde has managed to get himself another championship on top of that to make it a total of 4. So they both know this circuit like the back of their hands, and Luke Battersby chasing after him very, very quickly, as here we go down into hairpin 2. Luke Battersby is on that outside line. Luke Hyde covers off the inside, and actually not really having to drive that defensively here. Luke Hyde just keeping himself in the pace, making sure he's taking his regular racing lines. And to be honest with you, despite what it may seem, I don't think he is driving overall that defensively here, as they go down into paddock and then Garda once again with 3 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the race. Luke Battersby getting the run this time out of Garda, and through the centre chicane they go. He's right on the back of the number 11 carts of the race leader. 2 tenths of a second separated them at the last timing line, and now Luke Battersby all over the back of Luke Hyde. A chance as they go down into Conways, looks to the inside line and is going to slide through and into the lead of the race. It's been a long time coming, but Luke Battersby finally back up to the lead. For how long though? Because Luke Hyde trying to cross the lines over and get himself a switchback as we go down into hairpin 2. Luke Battersby has it covered for the time being, and there's nothing really that Luke Hyde can do and has anything to say about it. 2 minutes and a half to go in this race, and Luke Hyde keeping a look over his shoulder to make sure he's got the pace and has the space to go for this move as we go down into the final couple of corners. First of all, it's paddock. Luke Hyde right in the background, really trying to find a way through, but again, he's not quite able to find a way through just yet. Should be about 3 laps to go as we get to the line. Luke Battersby perhaps not the better exit because Luke Hyde is catching up, and as we go down into Conways there might be another chance for Luke Hyde. Once again down into turn 1, 1/10 of a second separates them at the line. Luke Hyde able to stay line of stern for the time being. You can see in the background looking to find a way through, at any possible opportunity, but right now that possible opportunity is not presenting itself, and Luke may be getting a bit of a better run out of hairpin 1. Hairpin 2 not quite as successful though, 1/10 of a second separating the two of our race leaders, as here goes Luke Ide. He's a little bit too far back, he's got a couple of tenths of a second, but he's very imposing and looking to impose himself in this race as well. As we go down into paddock, Luke Ide squirming around trying to find a way through, but there is no way through for him just yet, as the floodlights spring into life as well in the late afternoon, December twilight. As here goes Luke Ide. Is there a chance out of that final corner? And as they go down into Conways once again to maybe make a way through, a minute and a half to go in this race. We'll wait and see what's going on with Alex Brady. We've got to him a little bit further behind, and well, he's sitting right now down in 5th position. It's been a good run all day long for Alex Brady. Not quite been able to get himself up to the front, but I don't think he'll mind too much. He's still been sitting there up in 5th position relatively comfortably, and a good drive overall. He's back at the battle for the lead of the race. A minute to go in the race. We should be starting the final lap next time by. Luke Battersby looking over his shoulder, knowing that Luke Ide is right there, and knowing that he's going to have one lap to try and hold on to the lead of this race. Luke Ide knows that he's got possibly 2 or 3 more opportunities. You can overtake at quite a lot of places on this Buckmore Park circuit, but Luke Ide knows that passing Luke Battersby is going to be quite difficult. Both of these having held lap records around this track at some point in their lives. 30 seconds to go onto the final lap. There's nothing doing through to Henry's Bend as we go down into hairpin 1. Luke Battersby defends. Luke Ide able to cross the lines over, draws alongside as we go down into hairpin 2. Can he get the cutback as you go through that part of the track? Not quite. He does actually get the cutback, but it's not quite going to present itself. The pace just not there for Luke Ide, who's right in the slipstream now. And as we go down into sector 3, as we go up through into paddock, is there one last dive for Luke Ide? He thinks about it, can't quite find the way through. Now Garda's last real overtaking opportunity on the track. Luke Ide all the way around the outside, not able to find a way through there. We're going to be drag racing to the line for the second race in a row. Luke Ide against Luke Battersby, the two Lukes drag racing all the way to the line. It looks like Luke Battersby is going to defend and hold on to victory here in race 3 at Buckmore Park. Luke Ide not quite able to get there at the end. Luke Battersby takes a dramatic victory ahead of Luke Ide, 1/10 of a second in it at the line. Rory O'Regan is in 3rd, Matthew Bolton and Alex Brady making up the rest of the top 5. All of those drivers been very consistent over the course of our 3 races. Luca Palumbo finishes in 6th position with Blaze Turnstile in 7th. Louis Draper, Chrissy Harding and Callum Bengelo make up the rest of the top 10. It wasn't an ideal race for Ollie Smith, who finishes down in 11th. He's got some work to do as we head into race 4. Mark Puxty wins in at the heavyweights. Michael Whitaker in 2nd position, 4.7 seconds separating the two of them at the line. Alex Jones is in 3rd. Ryan Sandall and Jack Cameron Drayton the rest of your top 5. And look at the lap times in between all of these drivers. So close. Mike Smith finishes in 6th with Chris Bowers in 7th. Ross Sandwell in 8th. And Miles Harding makes up the rest of our results.